WXII 12 News. This is special coverage of the coronavirus impact.
Right now at 5 o'clock, it has been a heartbreaking day in the Triad. We have learned of new deaths tied to COVID-19. So far, 18 people have died across the state. 8 of them were in the Triad. And we have learned more people have died in Guilford County in particular, bringing the total there to 3. There are nearly 1,900 positive cases in North Carolina right now. City health leaders continue emphasizing social distancing as the best method we have to slow the spread of this virus. And of course, we here at WXII 12 News are doing our part using our secondary set. Most of our staff is working from home now. Our Kenny Beck spoke to a North Carolina senator about the country's response to the pandemic. But first, our Leanne Dinier just got an update on cases in Forsyth County. Leanne, what are you learning about the numbers there?
Well, Joshua Swift, the director of the Forsyth County Health Department, says that the next 2 to 3 weeks are expected to be really challenging for our community. He says data coming out of the University of Washington does suggest that there's going to be an increase not only in cases, but in hospitalizations and in deaths as well. He spoke to the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners this afternoon. Swift says that it is so vital that folks stay home except for running those essential errands and going to essential workplaces. He reminded the community to take that 6 feet apart guidance seriously. He emphasized that people will contract the virus and not show any symptoms, be asymptomatic, as we've been hearing about, and then unknowingly be spreading the virus. And because of that, it's just so important to stay home and practice that social distancing. One of the commissioners did ask if the department would be providing any insight into particular neighborhoods that are seeing cases. Swift says no, so that's due to privacy concerns. That information will not be provided. The Department of Social Services also attended today's meeting, attended by video call. The director says that his office is looking for ways to assist the homeless population during this time. They're looking for partnerships within the city and the county to help ensure that people have a place to isolate should they need to, should they have a positive case or start showing symptoms. So the discussion we've been talking a lot about has been unemployment. We know a lot of you have been struggling. The state is overwhelmed with claims right now, and the messaging is to try and apply online. And then if you're unable to finish that application, to try to get someone on the phone and just to be patient if you don't get someone right away. We'll send it on back to you.
All right, Leanne, good to see you there at home. Thanks so much. Leaders in Wilkesboro and North Wilkesboro are limiting how many people can be inside of a store at once. According to this new policy, 1 person per family is allowed into stores to shop. Children should not go with their parent or guardian to the store unless there's no one else who can watch them. People are also required to stay 6 feet away from others, both in the building and out in the parking lot. This order is going to be in place until at least the end of this month. We are waiting on the latest update from the White House Coronavirus Task Force, as usual, on the country's response to the pandemic. Just as soon as the president and his team get up to the podium, we'll take you there live. And while we wait, one of the president's top supporters in D.C., North Carolina Senator Thom Tillis, talked to our Kenny Beck earlier today. Kenny joins us live now as he continues working from home. Kenny, good to see you.
Good to see you as well, Brianna. Miss everybody in the newsroom. President Trump endorsed Thom Tillis in his re-election bid last summer. Senator Tillis is seeking a second 6-year term in Washington, D.C. He's going up against Democrat Cal Cunningham in the November election. I spoke with Senator Tillis at length today via Skype. I asked him in particular what he believes the White House has done well so far in response to coronavirus and what he believes the president and his team need to improve upon in the weeks and months ahead. For a frame of reference, as of where we are right now, according to the CDC, more than 213,000 positive cases of COVID-19 in the United States and more than 4,500 deaths as well. Here's Senator Tillis.
I think something that the president was criticized for, which I now think has proven to be a wise decision, is when he did the travel ban against China initially, because it bought us time. You know, the thing about this, I always use the analogy of hurricane response. You're always going to, you try to figure out how to put resources where they're supposed to be. The storm track changes and you made decisions that proved not to be accurate. You did it based on the best available information. I think what President Trump has demonstrated more recently in the calls this week or the press conferences is that we have to practice social distancing. We have to obey the orders of state and local officials who are asking people to stay at home.
Had a lengthy conversation with the senator today, touched on a number of other topics, including might be the biggest question that most people have right now. When does life start to return to normal? Senator Tillis had an interesting response to that. We'll hear that coming up a little bit later in this hour. Plus, then at 6 o'clock, we're also going to dive into unemployment. So many people, a record number, Leanne referenced this just a little bit ago, filing for unemployment across the country within the last week. More than 6 million people. The senator has a message to those folks in particular in North Carolina. So we'll see you for that story at 5 and at 6 o'clock. For now, we'll send it back to you in the studio, Brianna.
Kenny, looking forward to that coverage. Thank you. A staff member with Lexington City Schools has tested positive for COVID-19. We know this person worked in the child nutrition program and was at work last Friday. All child nutrition staff, volunteers, and drivers who came into contact with the staff member are now self-quarantined. All child nutrition operations have been moved to a new location, and all previously handled food has been thrown out. The program started serving students again today. Well, North Carolina's top lawmaker is suggesting the possibility of reopening some restaurants. Senate Leader Phil Berger says many of those businesses won't survive a lengthy shutdown caused by the pandemic. Our Bill O'Neill's in Greensboro with this story.
There's no plan to reopen restaurants, at least not yet, but lawmakers are scheduled to return to Raleigh by the end of the month, and the state's top lawmaker says he believes this can be done. We reached the senator at his law office in Eden and spoke with him by way of FaceTime. The idea of the opening of the restaurants, are you talking statewide or in specific areas?
I think it probably depends on the area. In some parts of the state, we're seeing much more severe numbers as far as the outbreaks are concerned.
Senator Berger says he believes restaurants could reopen while still utilizing social distancing measures, such as limiting capacities and keeping tables at least 6 feet apart.
I'm just asking that be considered. Again, I believe we'll be in a better position to make that kind of decision or to be an advocate for doing something like that if we had better data.
Berger's plan for better data is random testing, an idea that state health officials have already discounted.
Today, I have signed a stay-at-home order for the entire state of North Carolina.
Less than a week after Governor Cooper ordered the shutdown, thousands of North Carolina workers lost their jobs and applied for unemployment.
Losing your job or closing your business has to be difficult. But we have to act now in the safest, smartest way while we have the chance to save lives.
Senator Berger says he wants to save the state's economy from financial ruin. And one way to do that, he says, is to explore the possibility of reopening restaurants.
It's a very severe situation. We're going to see a lot of folks, a lot of small businesses go bankrupt as a result of this.
The Republican leader says the potential loss is too big for the government to fix.
To expect government to step in and be a substitute for the private economy for a period of time that goes beyond a month or a month and a half or 2 months, I think is unwise on our part.
One restaurant that remained open under the shutdown order was the cafeteria at the legislature. Yesterday, a worker at that cafeteria tested positive for COVID-19. The cafeteria is now closed. In Greensboro, I'm Bill O'Neill, WXII 12 News.
Thanks, Bill. We've got a list of restaurants that are still open, offering carry-out service or curbside pickup on WXII12.com. It's also available on our free WXII 12 News mobile app. Well, it's not just here in North Carolina. There's troubling news on the economic front across the nation tonight. More than 6 million Americans applied for unemployment benefits last week. That is another record-shattering number as job losses mount because of the coronavirus pandemic. Our Sally Kids in Washington with the details for us tonight. Sally?
Economists say this is just a stunning number, Brianna. The number of Americans applying for jobless benefits doubled in 1 week's time. As COVID-19 cases surge, job losses and layoffs are accelerating at an alarming rate. 6.6 million people applied for unemployment benefits last week. That's up from the record-breaking 3.3 million the week before.
We've seen a 3,000% increase in unemployment insurance claims over the last 3 weeks. We really are in just absolutely uncharted territory.
With stay-at-home orders in more than 30 states, streets are empty and businesses are closing. Regular economic activity has ground to a halt. The hardest hit sectors, restaurants, retail, travel, and hospitality. Congress's $2 trillion rescue package expands eligibility for unemployment insurance and adds an extra $600 in weekly benefits.
Should we again do the $600? I certainly think so, so that people have the purchasing power to help them meet their needs, but also spend it, inject demand into the economy.
I don't think that's appropriate at this time. We've just passed 3 bills, the largest in the history. We've got to make sure this is implemented correctly.
As federal dollars begin to flow, some say states need more help.
States are going to be strapped, localities are going to be strapped because they're going to have a loss in sales revenue, a loss in income taxes.
Economists are projecting some 20,000 more jobs will be lost by the end of June. Look, eventually we are going to pull out of this, but experts are saying it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. In Washington, Sally Kidd, WXII 12 News.